Bayern Munich are ready to pay up to €100 million for Harry Kane. Now, I'm not sure that is going to be enough to tempt Spurs to sell him. €100 million, we think that bid would be €90 million plus €10 million in add-ons. That's about £86 million. Sky Germany have been reporting today that two top Bayern executives have flown to London from Munich. The chief executive, Jan Christian Driesen, the technical director, Eric Neppe, and they say they've come to London for talks with Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy. They also say that Bayern are pretty confident that they will be able to sign Harry Kane. They think a deal may even be done this week, and it would be a massive coup for the Bundesliga to have the England captain, all-time leading England goal scorer, playing in that league and for Bayern Munich. I just think it will be desperately sad for Spurs if he does leave. If you're a Spurs supporter, you'll be hoping that he has a last-minute change of heart and agrees to sign a new contract. But at the moment, Spurs have got a big decision to make. Do they keep him until his deal runs out next summer, or do they do business with Bayern Munich?
OK, let's move on to another forward, because Al Hilal, desperate for a marquee forward this summer. They've moved on to Serie A's Golden Boot winner and made a huge offer. What can you tell us?
Yes, Al Hilal have made an offer worth €140 million for the Napoli striker Victor Osimhen. Now, I think that's going to be turned down because Napoli have always said that they want at least €150 million for him. Now, he's in talks with Napoli about extending his contract, but Napoli have made it clear if somebody makes an offer they can't refuse, then they are willing to sell him. And Al Hilal are offering him something like £1 million a week in wages. That would be tax-free. And Al Hilal are a gift to football transfer reporters because they've been making bids left, right and centre. They've made bids for Lionel Messi. They made a massive world record €300 million bid for Kylian Mbappe. He said he didn't want to talk to them. They made a bid, we were told, for Harry Kane as well. They were making bids for Mitrovic at Fulham. So they've been very, very active. Some of their deals have worked out and they've signed quite a few players, but they've missed out on a lot of players as well. And I think if they want Osimhen, they're going to have to offer a little bit more, €150 million, and I think they might be able to get him.
Yeah, I mean, Osimhen, we've seen a lot of players going over to Saudi Arabia who are kind of right at the end of their careers. Cristiano Ronaldo obviously kind of paving the way. Osimhen, different kettle of fish though, isn't he? Because if the younger players start going over, what kind of messages is that sending? Yeah,
I mean, he's 24 years old. He was a top scorer in Serie A last season. Scored 26 times, I think, as Napoli won the title. Maybe if it was left to him, he wouldn't feel like moving to Saudi Arabia is the right move for him at this stage of his career. But if a club accepts an offer for you, they're basically saying, we don't want you here anymore and you've got a big decision to make. And that decision is a lot easier to make if somebody is offering you £1 million tax-free a week.
Yeah, so they tell us. Now, bring us up to speed with Ousmane Dembélé then and his situation at Barcelona.
This is a really interesting one because PSG are in talks to sign him from Barcelona. He's on tour at the moment in the USA with Barcelona, and he's got this very interesting release clause in his contract. It's €50 million until midnight tonight. At midnight, it doubles to €100 million. So PSG have been trying to sign him. I think the player would like to go to PSG, but he's also being respectful to Barcelona. And there are reports that this 50 million release clause, he's due to get 50% of it. So if PSG trigger it, he would get €25 million. Barcelona would get €25 million. Barcelona would only get €25 million for a player 6 years ago they signed for £135 million, with some of the proceeds they got from PSG triggering Neymar's £200 million release clause. So are PSG going back and doing again to Barcelona effectively what they did 6 years ago and triggering a release clause to get one of their players? I think as far as the player himself is concerned, maybe it would be better if the clubs just spoke to each other and this release clause expired tonight and then a deal was done that everybody was happy with. So if it doesn't happen before midnight, I still think there is a chance that it could happen in the next 4 weeks.
Okay. Does PSG making a move from Dembélé have any bearing on Kylian Mbappe and reported interest from the Premier League?
Well, I mean, looking from the outside in, you would say PSG are planning for the future without Kylian Mbappe. Why not get Ousmane Dembélé? Okay, he's nowhere near as good as Mbappe, but for 50 million euros, he's a pretty decent replacement if he stays fit. As far as Mbappe is concerned, he's got until midnight tonight to extend his contract. PSG 99.99% sure that he will not do that. If he's still a PSG player tomorrow, he picks up another 60 million euro loyalty bonus as well. So the standoff continues between Mbappe and PSG. Now, could he end up in the Premier League next season? Could he, for instance, be playing for Chelsea? Could he be playing for Liverpool? I find that very difficult to see. The only scenario I think that could happen is this standoff continues until the end of this summer. PSG are expecting Real Madrid to make a late derisory bid, which will be refused. And then at that stage, maybe PSG think, look, we've got a player, we're not going to play him, we don't want to pay him, so let's send him out on loan. Let's find a club who would take him on loan just for 12 months, and then he can go to Real Madrid. So in that scenario, maybe a Chelsea or a Liverpool could come into the picture. But we've got no information to suggest that either of those clubs are interested in signing Kylian Mbappe. I'm sure if you spoke to any Premier League clubs, they would say, yes, he's a great player. He's probably the best player in the world, but we don't have the finances to be able to do that kind of deal. We can't pay a transfer fee as big as that, and we can't pay his wages. So I would rule it out, maybe not completely and utterly, because there is a little far-fetched scenario where it could happen, but I wouldn't put any money on it.
Cool.